So is it okay for a woman to shoot her shot?
Okay, so I you know what, I'm open-minded. I'm as open-minded as they come. But in my opinion, for me, I'm always uncomfortable with women approaching, coming to tell me that they like me. So I much rather like that I be the one who approaches a woman. That's me. So if other people start in another different way, I think it's fine for them. But I like to pursue. I like to know exactly what I to show that I like you, and to make advances because I know that I want this particular person. The problem for me is if someone comes to me, they might just force me to say yes because men are not used to saying no. So I prefer that men do the pursuing. That's my thought.
I'm on the fence with this one. I personally feel like if you feel it's okay for you to do it, you can, but I wouldn't do it. I feel like I'm still a bit old school. I feel like if you're gonna lead me, if we're gonna be in a relationship together, if you're gonna pursue me, the minute kita ko wena, and I can do something to show that I'm also interested, but I'm not gonna come and say, "Hey, I like you," or "Hey, let's try this," because I think it just changes the dynamic of the relationship. For me personally, it would change the dynamic of the relationship. I want somebody to be interested in me, and I want them to take the lead, to approach me. Obviously, if I like you, let nakatlansa sign, but I'm definitely not gonna come and full on shoot your shot. I'm assuming you mean full on Porsche. I can push a button. I can't. I can't. I can't. Personally, I don't believe in it.
I think we live in a modern time where I think everybody does it their own way. But according to the Bible, the man must be the one to pursue, not the woman. Because the Bible will say, he who finds, not she who finds. And so we must start it from this perspective that a man is the one who is supposed to pursue, not a woman.
I wouldn't say it's not okay for somebody who can do it. Fine. If it works for them, then cool. I'm one person who sense insane. But when you come forth, I'll respond accordingly. But I wouldn't do it. So
I like the way he put it by referencing the Bible. I'm of the view that if I'm to find a woman, I must be the one pursuing. I believe for me to be in a marriage or relationship that is good is the one where I feel like I have put an effort and somebody has been convinced to see me as someone who can be a partner in her life. But if she comes to me, she's giving me thoughts that maybe tomorrow she might find someone else. Tomorrow she might be attracted to someone else and could be the end of us.
Personally, I also wouldn't do it. My reason being that, well, I think from a personal experience, I think when I was 18, that's when I started dating, 19. So there was a time when now this guy wanted me to shoot my shot. And it was weird for me because eventually, I then said, okay, fine. I think I did that. Subconsciously, I did that. And then I think a year into the relationship, then there were those but quite not partly kind of situations. So I was like, no, this is the last time I'm ever doing this. So personally, I don't think, ever since then, I have not done it. So yeah.
I think with me for this question, about is it okay? Women do shoot their shots.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed. True. It's just that they don't do it the way we do it. True. Right? So, but let me not try and be clever. The question is it okay for a woman to shoot a shot? Meaning, is it okay for a woman to outrightly come to you and say, hey, I'm interested, what are you saying?
Yeah.
But then they do it without saying that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's a fact that they do it.
Yeah.
So they kind of invite you to say, ask me, I'll say yes.
Yeah.
they leave subtle hints. That's how they shoot their shots. But yeah, if I'm to rephrase the question, say, is it okay for a woman to outrightly approach a man and say, hey, I'm interested, what are you saying? It does take me aback personally. I'll speak for myself. At a risk of deviating, I don't mind it. I honestly don't mind it, but I want to take responsibility once I say yes, which means I would rather actually be the one to pursue in the first place.
Yes.
Because if I go and pursue her and outrightly say, yeah, I'm interested, what are you saying? Then I know I'm the one who initiated it, I'm the one who's going to commit to it,
Yes.
I'm the one who's going to, take it forward.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I've answered the question, but if I was to just be direct, the answer is no.
Yes, yes, sir.
How is it dating as a Christian? Is it easy or difficult to find umuntu esontweni?
I think there are two questions there. How is it dating as a Christian?
Yes.
And then is it easy?
Yes.
Yeah. I think the second one, it's mild. It's just okay. You can find somebody easily, and then the dating becomes difficult, or vice versa. Or it's difficult to find someone whom you can date, and then the relationship it works. So I think dating as Christians, it's interesting. I wouldn't say difficult. I would say it's very interesting. The dynamics of it, the things included, and the expectations of it. Imagine getting to learn to know somebody that you don't stay in the same roof with. Your time of meeting is very limited, so you have to give your best while doing it, so that you can get the best out of who is this person really, while they are relaxed outside the presence of God. And yeah, for me it's interesting. Yeah,
I'd say dating in the church is actually quite interesting. I'll be honest to say, I did a bit of dating before I got saved. Before I got serious with God, and to be honest with you, there's so much differences between that and dating within the confines of the church. I was actually tempted to say it's safer, but I know I'm not allowed to say that because it really isn't. But because God is there, we know there's safety in it. That's why the Bible says, the name of the Lord is a strong tower that the righteous run to and are saved. So when we're dating within the confines of God, of the church, we expect that there's protection. But people get heartbroken within the church, and people leave church because of that. I was watching a short video just a couple of weeks ago, and the person said, that the funny thing about church is when you're dating someone in church, and actually I attended like a dinner. So this pastor says the funny thing about it is when you're dating someone in church and they break your heart or you break theirs, they're there next week Sunday. But when it's someone else from someone you met at Logan Border or something, you forget about them. You see them after 2 years. So I'd say I quite prefer it here in the church. It's not easy because people like to clean themselves up a little bit, so it's not easy to actually know a person for who they really are. I like it here, but it's hard. Yeah.
I think for me, it's quite, as Christians, people always expect us to behave in a certain way, to date certain people. So I think it can be difficult also because the moment you find your purpose in God, it becomes difficult because now you're looking for somebody who is in alignment with what God wants you, what you are meant to do, your purpose with God, right? So it becomes very difficult because it's not especially men, I think they can be a bit hardened. Yes, because one moment you are looking for a guy, right? Most of us Christians, we don't look for men in church, right? Do you agree with me, or is it just me?
Well, this would come back to that answer of is it easy to date in the church?
Yes.
Which is
Not really.
Which is no. Oh, wait, you said is it easy and are they there? I get something like that.
No.
Was it,
How is
it dating as a
Christian?
And then
and is it easy?
Is it easy?
Is it easy for you to find
find
somebody in the church?
Yeah, so she's answering that part.
Yes.
No,
I
it's
think.
not easy.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, it's not easy because men in church, I think they're never honest with themselves. I don't believe they're always honest with themselves because the moment you get to church, it's always the first thing they want is marriage.
Mhm.
I don't think they want to get to know you personally and the kind of person that you are outside of church, like she was saying, right? So they always have expectations, like high expectations. They expect you to behave in a certain way, but they forget that before you came to church, you're also an individual, right? And outside of church, you might be a different person, obviously a different person. So it's really hard to find men in church. And outside also it's quite difficult because now you want somebody who aligns with your purpose. Yes. So, yeah.
With me being one person who believes in dating, especially for a purpose, I think dating as a Christian is not an easy thing. For example, if I see a sister in the church and I make a move, she already has expectations because I'm born again already. She already sees me in a perspective of being a man of God.
Yeah.
So that on its own, it's a challenge already. My character of being a Christian, it's already at stake. The way I behave, the way I talk, it's already at stake. I'm already at the spotlight because I met a sister in church and I made a move. She looks at me and she wants to see me leading in the Christian way. And this is why many people get heartbroken in the church and they talk about toxic church and they leave churches. It's because of that. Because if you're going to date and you meet someone and you date her in the church, there is a lot of expectations. If something goes wrong, someone's faith is at stake here. So I see dating as a Christian, especially in the church, as one of the biggest challenges of my youth, if I speak for myself.
Usually what happens with the church is people aren't trying to get to know each other. Men are at the altar because it's so pedestaled to be married, and what they're doing is they're just looking for wives. They want to get married. So they're at the altar and they're like, who can jump in and be the bride? But now they're already grooms in the church. They're ready. There are grooms. They're there, So they're just looking for somebody to fill that slot. So you find that I feel like dating and being with somebody is so much more than just, you need to know somebody's personality. You need to know, all they're looking for is what they see. They don't invest in getting to know somebody half the time because they're rushing. They're rushing to have a wedding and to have a marriage. So you find no, I can't do this, And like she's saying, or half the time you find that a lot of ladies or women in the church will end up leaving or dating people from outside because what happens within is, like I'm saying, people just want to get married. You be like, Proverbs 31, and then it's like, and then it's I don't know how to put it. Then it's one of those, he's pursuing you, but everything is just spiritual. But like after that, the truth is we're going to work, we're going to live. Are you gonna blend in with my family? You're not just there's my family involved. What's gonna happen after that? But that's just it. It's one of those, they're there at the altar and she's like, she can fit. And then next thing, there's this other person who's trying to get to know you. Okay, who's Khofa? What are you trying to do? What are your interests in? Which they don't invest in doing that, like I'm saying. And maybe it's a culture that we also have fostered in the church because, of course, marriage is a beautiful thing. Obviously, people but I think because people are craving that type of, everyone wants to get married in the church, and then you find the pursuers. They're just there. Guys,
Ready-made.
you know. So it's not easy. It's not easy because I don't know if they want to date. They want to get married. So they don't want to date. They want to get married. So it can't be easy dating because that's not where they are. That's
So is it safe to say if men in church are naive to believe that? I think they are naive because I think sometimes they feel like all women in church, well, they are holier than thou. I think that's why they run for marriage other than dating. Because there's a difference between dating and marriage, right?
Yeah.
So I think men in church always run for marriage, not dating. Like you are saying, we are merging two different personalities here. And that's something that they tend to forget. Right?
So they don't want to learn somebody or get to know somebody. They just want to skip, fast forward, get to
Let's
get married.
Let's get married. And I feel like they think all women who come to church are looking for marriage. We're there for different things.
Yes.
Some of us, marriage is not
Priority.
It's not a priority, yes. But if it comes,
It does a lot.
thing, right?
Well and good when they get to know the other person, you know.
So
Okay.
Dating, number one, I don't know if it's even in the Bible explicitly as dating.
No, it's not.
It's not, because I think it's just something that we are adopting as a way of he who finds. So it's an avenue to find.
Yeah.
But even in doing that, there's a lot of interesting dynamics that come to play that have made it complicated. That makes us rethink to say, okay, how is this thing actually supposed to be? You know? But in sticking with the question so that I don't deviate, dating in the church is complicated. If I can just repeat what Gabo said, everybody's putting their best foot forward. Everybody's best dressed, well dressed, everybody's saying hallelujah and raising their hands. You see. But the real person is the person you actually get to now encounter in the challenges of life outside of the four walls of the church.
True. Yeah.
Right? So does that mean you should now look for somebody that's outside of the church? I feel like being unequally yoked is dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you should aspire to at the same time. But it takes a mature mind to sift and be objective and be focused and say, okay, I'm trying to find a wife in the church. And for me, first thought is church is not my brand church. Church is the body of Christ. So if this person goes to another congregation 15 kilometers away from my congregation, that's still the church to me. That's still the body of Christ to me. So long as she follows Christ and she's a disciple, that's it. But ultimately it is difficult because, like I said, people are putting their best foot forward. Somebody once said, some people are more spiritual than God. So people are being more spiritual than God himself about some things, and they're not speaking honestly about issues. Exactly. They're not speaking honestly about their history. Yeah. They're not speaking honestly about their trauma. They're not speaking honestly about how they've gone forward. And when I say they, are now even turning the fingers back to me and say, maybe I also need to audit my capacity in speaking honestly about my traumas, speaking honestly about my histories, speaking honestly about, all these factors that come into play with two people trying to walk together. So that becomes complicated. So it's like, and I may get in trouble for sitting next to a pastor when I say this, but sometimes we are over spiritual. We need to just try and be practical as well, and say, while we are being spiritual, while we're trying to follow God, which is our objective, let's not put the truth behind. Let's put it in front so that we can manage to be practical. So I think that's what makes dating in the church complicated, because that dynamic is not really robustly confronted. Yeah.
Let me answer as a pastor.
Yes. Yes, pastor.
First thing is first. When a man pursues a woman, he's bringing the vision on the table. That here is my vision. Support my vision. And here is what I will do. I will do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so there's a garden that a man is tendering. And when a man is tendering the garden, there must be the fruits that are out of the garden, that the woman must be able to appreciate very, very well. If the woman is not appreciative of the fruits, know that there is a problem. So whenever as a man you are approaching or you are pursuing a woman, and the woman is not responsive towards the fruits of the garden, towards the vision that you have put, know that there is a problem. So dating in, like he was saying, we would put this thing that is not the actual us in front, and it's not nice at all. It's not nice. So, and then another thing, we have not really come to this part of allowing ourselves to be seen in all the 5 seasons of our lives. I mean, I'll only be seen as mood. I will not be seen as somebody who's sometimes broke, somebody who sometimes is heartbroken, or somebody sometimes who gets to have emotions, can be angry, can have this tantrums, can have 1, 2, 3. And so let me just close it this way and say, it is never easy. It is never easy dating in the church. But we pray that things do work out.
Amen.
And we work on things to work out. Yes, sir.
What do you look for in a man? Your top 3 or top 2 or even just 1? We will take it. If there's just one negotiable, or those 2 non-negotiables, or 3 non-negotiables.
Where are the mics going down?
They are pounding.
I'm gonna just say 1 for me. 1. Maiteo, guys, yo. Yeah, I think for me, respect is very important. And Maiteo, I mean, just simple, basic manners. Let me tell you, I'll say this, like, and there's a way that you're gonna have to behave, you know. So I need somebody who and I mean, I'm picking that one because it's just a very basic thing. There are other things, but that's such a huge thing for me. Just basic. And I mean, it's such a simple thing, but it really is lacking. Like, people don't know how to behave in different settings or different environments. And I think that's a very big thing. Depending, obviously, you look for a partner but for me, my joy is important. Other people, maybe it's not a big deal, but for me and my background, the family I come from, I think respect is such a huge thing. Even for me, if I go out with somebody and we're on a first date and the Maiteo thing does this, I'm just like, no, I can't. So that's the one I'll talk about. Maiteo.
I look for somebody who can help me not feel alone. That's a top priority for me. If I'm with someone and I can tell that, I'm going to feel alone, then it's a non-starter. And that means different things to different people. But like Muruti says, there's seasons in our lives, right? And you can always sense that, okay, this person obviously does not relate or feel my emotions in terms of my excitement or my pain. But even though with the excitement, it's easy to celebrate good things, but the pain side of things are the ones that's pretty difficult, right?
Yeah.
But like, given the different seasons, the different trials of life that we go through, you want somebody who is going to help you not feel alone. This is not your emotional crutch. That's not what I'm saying. This is not your emotional what is this thing that babies put in their mouth? Pacifier or binky. Hey, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying walking with somebody is literally that. I don't want to walk this life and feel like this person is walking there. And we're not really walking together. And I feel like as mature men of our age, you can detect that pretty quickly. And if you are refusing to detect that, it's just because you're in denial. Maybe she's that beautiful.
Yeah.
And you are distracted to the fact that you're going to be alone in this life if you stick with this person. You see what I'm saying? So that's my first priority. Second thing, I mean, because this is a clear Christian platform, I'm not going to mention that obviously she needs to be a follower of Christ.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not mentioning it.
Okay.
So, but that was the first one. Second one, I also look for somebody who, I'm sorry, Pastor. Look for someone who's beautiful. I'm sorry. If I look at you and I'm not inspired, I'm sorry. Okay, it's an unfortunate flaw that I have as a man.
Yeah.
But if I don't find you beautiful, and this is something I always even say to my partner that, listen, you are my Ford Mustang. In the sense that 1960s Mustang, if you guys know it,
Yeah.
so many people have restored it. So like, how many Ford Mustangs have come out since that one? How many C-Class, E-Class, AMGs, Mercedes-Benzes have come out? But you'll find that the same Ford Mustang owners will have those cars, or will like those cars, or will admire those cars, but they just have a special attachment to this 1960s Ford Mustang.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I identify in terms of beauty, that I find you beautiful, and you're going to age. Your body is going to change. There'll be other people that will be more symmetrical in terms of beauty than you, that we will meet.
Yes, sir.
But your beauty has stolen my heart. And that's what I look forward to. That's what I want to wake up next to. That's what I've identified. I find you beautiful, and I will always find you beautiful. So I think that's something. If I can't say that about you, it's not happening.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
And then number 3, what do I look? Obviously somebody with various the English is disappearing, but various character traits that I need in terms of how I live my life. So if we're not culturally compatible, if we're not, and I'm not saying identical, I'm saying compatible. So there's some things culturally that I live by, that if she can't live by them, they could be deal breakers.
Yeah.
So I look for that. Cultural compatibility, mindset compatibility. That doesn't mean we agree on everything,
Yeah.
but how we think and the values and the confines and how we make decisions are similar, or they are workable.
Yes.
Yeah. So without talking too much, those are the 3 things that I look for now.
Wow. You know, it was actually now that I started thinking if I've been looking the right way. Because now in my head I'm thinking and I'm like, wow, if a man has to find, he should know what he's looking for. You can't be just going to find and you are not particular about what you want. So it's been, when I'm listening to him now, it's going in my head like, wow, maybe that's why some men look forever. Because
they don't know what they're looking for.
because they haven't sat down and thought about what exactly, if I go out and I'm going to look, what am I looking for? Well, maybe to me, I think character will always speak a lot. Because I will be very mindful of someone I'll be spending the rest of my life, especially looking at character. I want a character that will be able to complement my energy and the way that I see things. So I think first it will be character. Obviously, she has to be wonderfully and fearfully made, beautiful and willing to go into the future. I loved what you said. You said when time goes on, body-wise, she's going to change. But if she's wonderfully and fearfully made, even when the changes are coming throughout time, you will still look at her and see that when she was made, the rain had to stop and the wind had to take it easy.
Come on, sir.
So,
Come on.
so I think character, beauty, and compatibility. Because you can have someone who seems to display good character, who seems to be very beautiful, but if the two of you are not compatible, it will not go anywhere. So I think character and compatibility, for me, they will do. They'll make me find a good thing before the Lord.
I need a partner who's very supportive in every aspect of my life. Obviously, we won't agree on everything, but support is very important.
Okay.
I'll also pick one. In addition to respect, I think somebody who's real. Just be real. Be yourself. After church, you keep saying, okay, God will provide. You have to work hard. You have to. God says that He will bless the works of your hand. So if you are not going to work and think that a miracle is going to come and knock on your door, it won't work. So you just need to be real. Be spiritual, but be real also. And have, now also for me, I think have content. Like what conversation? Hey, I think when you are real and have content, first conversation, be good at content, then we can start talking.
The basics. Those are the basics. I agree with all of them. Like those are the most basic. Before it's just basic.
Not complicated, right?
Yeah.
I like what you guys are saying about the beauty. This one for every man, okay? Whether there's a tale, man of God, or man of the cloth, or man of something, every man likes to to look at something and behold beauty. It has to be beautiful. And obviously, when you get into the second point, you need to see the beauty that's skin deep. It needs to go inside now. Listen, something about us as men, we will never agree on this, but men are terribly subjective. We have influence because we need to lead, but we are subjective. This is what I mean by this, is a woman comes into your life and will tell you, so these people have been talking to you like this. They've been disrespecting you. And then the thought has never come into your mind. In the next 3 months, you start fighting with your brother. I'm not saying women make you fight with people. I'm just saying that they have an influence on us. That's why she has to have an influence on you, because she has to bring help into your life. That's why she comes and says, no, listen, these chairs need to match with this. You're like, match in the house. But so what I'm saying is, without going astray, is a woman needs to have an ability to see life in a way you've never seen it, for the betterment of the two of you. She just can't come into your life and it stays the same, guys. Obviously, it's the same on both sides as well. But when she comes into my life, I need to see the sunshine in a different way. I never thought rainbows were kind of nice, but when she says, "Come on, let's see the rainbow," I'm like, "Hey, so that's red, and then that's that's beautiful." So I need to see that. She needs to see life for what it really is. Life is not easy. And no one has promised that life is easy. So she needs to know life, not happiness or parties, but life. Life is, it comes in seasons, like you said, Moruti. There'll be good times, there'll be dry times, there'll be times of rain, there'll be times of arguments, times of challenges, all those seasons that you're going to get into. She needs to have the strength to not just stand with you, but also support you, because sometimes we're weak and sometimes we want to cry, but we're not allowed to. But if she knows that she has that character, she can support you. So for me, it's one of the most important things. But the third one, and I don't know if it down the line it will get more important, but she has to be a homemaker. You know, she needs to exude the element of a mother. I want to have a family. I believe I have a strong lead to be a father. Whether it's in the father in the capacity of, you know, having a family or having a business or people or you know, social, what I don't know, just to be a father figure. I want this for my life. I never used to have this, but for the past 2 years or so, it's the intensity of the feeling has come on me. So it means now the time to get a wife is getting nearer. So so for me, she just needs to be a person who you can look at and say, this can be a person to build a home. And before then, because you can't see how she'll act as a mother or as a wife in that house, but you need to feel at home with her first, where you can come with your issues. You know, this is what's happening at work. I'm exhausted, and she says, "Come here, sit down. What do you want to do?" Or you're saying, "I'm broke," and she says, "Come here, sit down. What are we doing?" Not, you don't have money for this, and you know, she stresses you out. So those are my most important things.
The three things, sir, would be, I'm looking forward to the next generation, and she must be firstly beautiful, sir, like you said.
Kids.
And she must be, and another thing, she must be so welcoming. You know, there's just as you were saying, there's nothing as painful as a man coming to a woman who is sulking and who is not welcoming enough, or even for your families or for your friends. You know, there must be that space that is welcoming. It should get to a point whereby she can even be in a position to welcome the devil in the house.
Come again. Please repeat.
And the quality of the mind is very important for me. Somebody once said to me that out of the quality of the mind of a woman comes a quality future, because the quality of the mind that she has in supporting the vision that you brought to the table would create a quality future. And so the quality of the mind that I'm talking about here, when I was saying she should be able to be welcoming and even go as far as even welcoming the devil, she has to be able to deal with the devil with her mind, so that the devil may be put in place. Because one thing that Eve did was to welcome the devil, but didn't know how to respond with the divine wisdom. And so that's my yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.